Anybody want to be the videographer today?
Yeah, I do.
Well, move your chair over there.
No.
Go ahead. No, I heard him first. Okay.
I said I do.
Easy, easy. See that? That's rule number one. See? I asked who wanted to be a videographer today, and everybody went like that, right? This is, my name is Bob Allen.
No, just that. Yeah.
Anyway, just so that I'll show you, there's a zoom on here, if you wanted to zoom, and you just watch it, and then we'll talk about that.
It's already recording.
Everybody, my name is Bob Allen. I am quote-unquote retired, and I'll give you a brief career summary of what I've done, which is the object of what we're supposed to do. But for me, I want this to be more interactive rather than me standing up here telling everybody what I did, which is pretty exciting. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. Anybody know what an entrepreneur is? No, let this be a learning process. Does anybody understand what an entrepreneur is? Okay, we'll get into that later. Yes?
When you're selling something.
When you're your own businessman, okay? In other words, rather than working for somebody, you have an idea and you go out and you pursue it. I was an entrepreneur starting at your age. How many have ever done anything where they earn money? What'd you do?
Chores.
How many earn money not from their parents?
I sold the tomato at that lawn.
Very good. That is a true entrepreneur. You made the lemonade and you sold it.
I sold lemonade too. I sold chocolate.
First and most important thing that I have to get across, the single thing if I could leave you with, the most important attribute that you should have is good communication skills. When you're talking, keep your hands away from your face because a lot of people like to see the facial expression that you're doing, and always speak out loud and clearly, okay? So, now what, you were saying something, I didn't hear it.
So I sold chocolates.
You sold chocolate. Very, very good. What I did, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York as a kid your age. And when it snowed, my parents' house was the last place that got shoveled. My brothers and I would get our shovels, and we had a route where we went out and we shoveled snow and got paid by our neighbors. Now, to me, that was the first sign as an entrepreneur, but my father and my grandfather's generation in New York City said education was the most important thing. And they provided me with one of the greatest educations any student could have. I went to a high school, Brooklyn Technical High School, where 98% of the graduates went on to college. We've had 17 astronauts who have graduated from Brooklyn Technical High School. It was at a time where engineering was the real need in the United States, and that's what they taught me. That's what my parents pushed me to do. At that time, my mother told me, if you don't go to college and get an education, you're going to have to go out and dig ditches. The difference between then and now was there were many jobs of going out to dig ditches. There are none today. So everybody is being shown go on to college because it's that important. How many of you want to go on to college? How many don't want to go on to college? Okay, so we can go through the various reasons. How many want to go on to the college so they can get a good job? How many want to go on to college so they can become more educated without having a good job? How many want to go on just to get the education? We have one bright student in this room, okay? One thing I can promise you is going to change in your lifetime, okay? Does anybody remember Ben Franklin? Have you gotten up into the history about what Ben Franklin said? The two things that he said happen all the time? Death and taxes. He forgot about change. And when you embrace change, you become a different person. And that is what I've wanted to try and impart to you today. I have grandchildren that are a little older than you and grandchildren that are a little younger than you, okay? And one of the things that you have to do is basically get a good education so that you could choose what you want to do 8 years from now. Because things are going to change in 8 years. But getting a good education, learning how to communicate with others, will be the top thing that will differentiate you between you and all your competitors. For me, I went on to become an engineer. I got married in my junior year in college. I wanted to drop out of school because I didn't even understand what engineering was all about. And in my senior year, a retired gentleman came in very similar to what I'm doing today, except he came in on a regular basis, and he taught me the practical aspects of engineering, not the theoretical ones, and I fell in love. I worked for Mobil Oil for 10 years on the East Coast. I started coming out to California and went back to 26 inches of snow once too often, and I decided to pick my 2 daughters and my wife, and we'd come out here, and I'd give up working for Mobil Oil, and I would become an entrepreneur. And I have been in sales and marketing for the past 40 years. Right now, I am redefining what retirement is. For me, retirement was getting up and doing what I want to do, and I played golf for many years already. Coming back and doing what Harry Barron did for me, okay, I want to do that for you a little bit today, okay? So if I can answer questions that you might have, there are things that I would not, that would tell my own grandchildren that I would tell you, okay? Be free thinking and always look at your options. You okay? Would you like some water? So what we're doing right now is in every high school that in Ventura County, we are starting a broadcasting curriculum. We're teaching this new media that if I wanted to hook that camera up right now to my hotspot, in other words, my cell phone is a hotspot that gives me internet connection anywhere. That's the first Samsung new smart camera that basically would stream to the internet. Excited about that? What high school are you going to next year?
Rio Mesa.
Rio Mesa. Well, we're going to start a broadcast team at Rio Mesa. And they're going to be learning how to broadcast all of the sports and all of the academic competitions so that grandmas and grandpas who are not around here are going to be able to see it. Broadcast graduation. Here's a goal that I want you to keep, okay? All 3 years that you're at Rio Mesa, graduation is streamed live. Just think of those things as a goal. But what I'd like to do with the time element, I don't want to talk about myself as much as I want to be able to answer some questions that you might have, okay, about career and education, okay? Anybody have a question?
How long did you go to college for?
5 years. Engineering at that time was, I played sports. So you don't want to put too much into the academics while you're in the midst of your sports. By the way, you might be too young, but this is the 10th year anniversary of the Little League World Series team from Thousand Oaks. Does anybody remember that? Too young, huh? My grandson played on that team. That was one of the great thrills, okay, of having. This June, he's going to be in the Major League Draft as a junior in college. So you can do both things. He is a 3.2 GPA through 3 years in college as a chemistry major while he's playing baseball. So education is still the most important thing. Sports, you're not going to get any disagreement from me, but education comes number one.
In high school, what classes get the most credits for high school? What credits, most credits for college?
I don't think it's measured that way. It's a function of what you want to, what college you want to go to, how many students are applying to that college, and where you fit in. I had my younger granddaughter had a over 4 index. She could not get into the communications course at Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo. How can't you? The demand for people worldwide to get into colleges today is causing colleges like UCLA. My daughter graduated in 1987 from UCLA. Cost me $1,200 for the year for her to go to. You know what it costs now at UCLA? $25,000 a year. So what they've done is, and this is something that think through, they've come back and said, oh, we'll give you student loans. Has anybody heard about that? Well, you have to sign that for life. I understand. That's what I'm trying to get to impart, okay? Is that basically think through what you want to do. Education is coming where you might be able to get educated without having to go to a major 4-year university. There are a lot of online courses that are coming that are much, much less expensive. There are careers that you could be looking at, but no matter what career you want to go into, having an education and understanding, forgive me, this is a little bit of a criticism. What is the shortest distance between 2 points? Okay? So, I'd like to open this up so I'm not the one who's always talking too much. You sure you don't want some, do you have some water in the room? No?
No, there's a water fountain right here.
Why don't you go outside? Go ahead. No, you shouldn't be. And you're trying to hold back, so. Anybody else? Oh, what do you do? Just want to go outside and get a drink of water? No. That was interesting. Just you.
I have a question. KATY, is that a TV or a radio? Kids would want to know.
Katy Television was the only broadcast television station in Ventura County in 1985 to 2004. Okay? It was sold and the call letters were changed to KBEH, channel 63 UHF, channel 12 on some of the... In the late 1990s, I was in other words, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm looking at what the future is bringing. And people look at me, what I walk around with. You see, these are the tools. You're going to see, there's an old expression, and for those, you can go home and tell your parents that you heard it here. In my day, it was called, if you had a party, it was BYOB. Does anybody know what that means?
No. Biggest.
Huh?
No.
Bomb.
No. It has a Y.
Bring your own bottle.
What?
Yeah. You came to a party, you brought a bottle of wine or whatever you wanted to drink at that party.
Yeah.
What is going on? What happened? It's going off?
No. It's just like dark.
Oh,
It's a little battery.
that's okay. The battery.